Welcome back to the podcast. It is October 17th, and this is going to be the breakdown of Draftkings Week 6 slate. This is going to be a very different slate. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12 games we got going on here. We're used to like 14. We got a couple teams on bye. Not that many COVID related outs. And we're going to hop straight into this. Baltimore Philly is the first game I want to break down. Definitely. I know a lot of people are going to be really kind of like disregarding this because Lamar Jackson has been a little bit lackluster. But this is an opportunity for him to have a breakout game. See, none of these numbers that you've seen in the first 5 weeks are like Lamar Jackson. He's usually scoring 30 fantasy points per game. He's averaging 20. This is not good at all. The offense is not clicking, but this defense that they're going up against is not that great. They have one good slot corner. They bring pressure, but the way that the Baltimore Ravens run their offense, this can be an opportunity for them to get back offensively on the right side. Definitely. Um, I'm gonna start with him at quarterback. I'm skipping all the running backs. There's no need to choose a Baltimore running back at all. You don't know which one is gonna go off. It's totally random. Mark Ingram is basically irrelevant. He should be like 4K, not even 5. This guy, they mix them all in. They mix them all in. You're never going to know. Don't waste your time. Okay? No Ingram, no Dobbins, no Gus Edwards. Okay? Let me just check Dobbins since he's averaging more. If he's been getting away some extra usage. They've been using Dobbins more in the passing game. Okay? Less in the rushing, more in the passing game out the backfield. That's why he's getting a little more, average points per game. But we're skipping that, going straight to Mark Andrews, who is his number one target. Him and Marquise Brown, that would be the stack I would go with on the Baltimore side. Understand that Darius Slay is the corner for Philadelphia, but they move Brown around. He has elite speed, tough to contend with. And if you wanted to get really contrarian, you could go with Carson Wentz at quarterback because I feel like they might be down and they got to work their ways back up. And he can sneak his way into 20 DK, which he, did against Cincinnati, did against San Francisco. I thought he had 20 DK against Pittsburgh because they really came on, but those 2 interceptions really cost him. He's like getting interceptions every single game. But we're going to avoid Wentz. We're going to focus on Lamar Jackson. Miles Sanders is at a disgusting price, like 6. He's basically an 8K running back. You see what he did against an even better defense in Pittsburgh. This guy has breakout ability. He had a 74 run TV. He's getting the work. He's an every down back, and you got to keep playing him every week. You have to keep playing him. Now the wide receiver that you want to choose, you might want to lean to Ertz. But I know a lot of people are going to be on Fulgham. Okay. I don't know if he can repeat this performance because 13 targets is a lot. He didn't see that the week before. They were spreading it around. Ertz was getting some. I think that could be a trap. So instead of Fulgham, I'm leaning more to the Ertz side because that's the true number one. And I have to take out Brown. So we just see some numbers on Ertz. They keyed in on him. He still had 6 targets. He still got the targets. He just didn't get the catches pretty much. Either they were the well defended or he threw it in his vicinity and he may have dropped the ball. But Ertz is still that number one guy. So I would focus on Ertz and Sanders. It's a coin flip of which wide receiver you want to deal with between Fulgham and Greg Ward. Okay. I'm not too, hard pressed on either one. You could choose one or the other, but just focus on the main guys. But definitely Baltimore is in a position to have a go-off game against Philadelphia's defense, all right? Next game we're going to go to is going to be this Detroit Lions game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to clear this out for you. Get that going. Detroit and Jacksonville. This one has two bad defenses. James Robinson is in a great position at running back, and so is DeAndre Swift. Okay, Adrian Peterson was able to probably get in a full or limited practice. Doesn't have any, and he's cleared up, but still, week in and week out, despite the fact that Peterson is getting all those carries, Swift is coming away with more fantasy points. Okay, and in the red zone, this is where they're looking at. All right, he had a receiving touchdown last week. He's getting these receptions, which is very key for Draftkings. DeAndre Swift is soon he's going to take over most of the work. All right, I see him as more of a 60% than this 30-40% share, and he's still doing great with that little bit of work. DeAndre Swift, he's a sneaky guy at 4,500 to look at. The main guy quarterback I'm looking at is going to be Matt Stafford. We saw what some of these defenses have done to the Jacksonville Jaguars so far, and they are a total dumpster fire. They have a lot of injuries on that defensive side. So I love the connection between Stafford and Kenny Galladay. Kenny Galladay came back last week, didn't have a huge breakout game, but got in the end zone, got you your money's worth at that 6K salary, 6,200. He's probably a lock for me in this prime position. I think he gets 2 touchdowns, 100 yards. Kenny Galladay is going to have a field day. You can get to Marvin Jones if you want, just because how bad this secondary is. So I can see both of them having a pretty good day. All right, and a lot of people are going to be on either Deontay or Juju. A.J. Brown is at a low price. McLaurin is at a low price. And then the guy I want to bring it back with, I already spoke about James Robinson. We're waiting on news on DJ Shark. You got to wait until kickoff on that day. But Laviska Shenault is getting targeted. He's getting used in rushing. This guy, as long as he stays healthy, he is a dynamic wide receiver. The rookie from Colorado, I love this guy at 5,200. Definitely get him in your lineups. All right. So if Shark, it depends on Shark as well. If he's in, I think he has a bounce back performance. If not, Shenault is going to be the guy I'm looking towards. All right. The next game we're looking at, another juicy matchup, is going to be Atlanta and the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota. A lot of people are 50-50 on this game. I understand that Matt Ryan is they might be looking for a new quarterback this year, and Julio is back, so I think that is all systems go. This can be an absolute shootout on both sides. Okay, I don't know if I want to go with Matt Ryan, but the statistics are there. As long as Julio is active, Matt Ryan is much better, and that offense is much better. So for that purpose, we're going to first start with Madison, since Dalvin Cook is out. This man is going to get fed the ball. We saw it last week. 20 carries, 112 yards, and getting receiving work. That is a number one back right there at 7,200. He's close to a lock. Julio Jones is way too cheap. Way too cheap. If he's healthy, you got to play him. I think he can have that performance in Seattle. This is a 7-8K wide receiver for 6,700. I think he's a lock. I got to change my whole thing around. Julio Jones is a lock. Julio. Definitely. With Julio back, the price on Ridley is too high for me, and I would love to bring it back with either Thielen and or Justin Jefferson. Okay, I'm kind of leaning towards a Minnesota stack because there's more guys I really like. Irv Smith can be a punt tight end just because how bad Atlanta's defense is against the tight end as well. They give up almost a touchdown every game to the tight end position. So that is also a guy I'm looking at, but I think I'm going with Cousins. I think Minnesota gets up. I think Atlanta is going to have to play catch up. Julio Jones is going to rack up a ton of yards. And I think this is going to be a very high scoring game. All right. But I definitely guarantee at 6,700, Julio Jones is way too cheap. That is almost disrespectful. All right. And the next game we're going to go to is we're going to get two more for you. Okay. We got 1 o'clock, and then the 4 o'clock game. The chalk is going to be on the Miami side in that New York Jets Dolphins game. I'm staying away from that. I don't trust Fitzpatrick at all. I don't know why people are just guaranteed definitely going on that side. I think that's a little bit crazy because the Fitzpatrick game is coming, that he's going to suck, and they're bringing it back up. It happens with every team. It happened with the Jets, it happened with the Bills, it's going to happen with the Dolphins. Like, we know the story. Like, stop doing it. Then he wasn't in the Titans too. Like, we're focusing on this Houston game. Houston Texans against the Tennessee Titans. Titans coming off a big win against Buffalo. This is a short week now for Tennessee, and now they go to a division rival. We're home for a division rival, and I think Deshaun Watson. I told you guys last week, this guy was a lock, especially in the game he was in. Let me see, real quick, against Jacksonville. Like I said, Jacksonville is horrible. This man got 29 DK. He was a pretty much lock. I love him just the same this week. This is another bad defense that we're looking at in the Tennessee Titans, and it definitely can be picked apart in the secondary. All right. David Johnson is a coin flip, not really too strong with play on there. I don't really care for him. He's going to get you double digits, but not really have a huge day. But I'm focusing on Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, and I think that's pretty much it. If you want to go for a punt play, I'm leaning towards Cobb more than Stills, but that's up to you. All right. But I'm definitely focusing on the Watson, Fuller, and Cooks. AJ Brown is still too cheap. Like I just told you before, he came back from injury, got 9 targets, 7 catches, 82 yards, and a touchdown. Put him in. I don't know why he's this cheap. It's absolutely crazy. Draftkings should have been on this, but you get a free square pretty much. It's the number one wide receiver against one of the worst secondaries in the league. And there's also a team that doesn't stop the run very well at all. Maybe they're more, focused on Derrick Henry, which they should be, with Romeo Cromwell at the helm right now. I think they held Robinson. What they held Robinson to? Let me see. Let me just double check. Robinson last week had 1348, 3.7 yards a carry. So they keyed in on that. And this wasn't like a blowout. This was a close game, and then Houston pulled away late. So they definitely had an opportunity to establish the run. So if they key on Derrick Henry had a blow-up game last week. I know he might be very highly owned. He didn't go off, but he definitely had his 2 TDs. So it's a crazy matchup. I don't think you might have to play him. I'm going Derrick Henry and I'm going A.J. Brown. Those are 2 guys I'm focusing on. At the tight end position, Jonnu Smith. It's this a funnel with this Tennessee Titans offense. You got A.J. Brown and you got Jonnu Smith. Even with A.J. Brown back, 7 targets, 40 yards, 2 TDs. I don't know what's wrong with Buffalo defense. I knew they were a fake 4-0, 5-0 team, whatever it was, and I bet on the Tennessee Titans. It was pretty obvious to me. I've been called them fake. Mike Vrabel's the perfect coach to stop this, whatever freaking Josh Allen was doing, all right? He's not that efficient. Stop. And they came through. Jonnu Smith is a tier 1 tight end play this week. Jonnu Smith at 5,200, nice price. Just above Ertz. I think he has a great game as well. So these are the guys you want to focus on in that game. Houston and Tennessee. I think it's definitely going to be back and forth. I'm leaning more to the Houston side because they're more motivated and they need this win. But it's going to come down to the fourth quarter and who executes. All right. And we're going to move on to last but not least, the game. I think this is the game of the week, definitely. Let me just get this out of the way. We got Green Bay Packers going up against Tampa Bay. We got All-Stars back at the helm. I'm not sure. Tom Brady needs a bounce-back performance. So definitely see a lot of ownership on him just because it's an opportunity to prove himself and the fact that he gets Godwin back. This is another guy. There's so many. You're going to have to key in on a core wide receivers that you're going to utilize. But Chris Godwin is definitely a number 1 wide receiver, and you're getting the cheapest price in a very, very long time. And at 6,400, Chris Godwin is definitely a solid choice. I'm expecting 20 fantasy points from him. Probably 8 to 10 targets because I know Tom Brady misses him. And then on the other side, we got Devontae Adams, man. We saw when he was healthy the last time he was, what was it, week one? Because he's been out a couple weeks. And this man performed 14 receptions, 17 targets, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This is, I think he's the best wide receiver in the league between him and Julio, pretty much. Um, and he's back. So I might do a lot of lineups with just Godwin and Adams in it because I know they're gonna get fed. I know they're gonna get fed. They had a long layoff, and I know they're gonna get fed. And it's up to you to decide which quarterback is going to be in a better position. Green Bay has some good corners back there with Alexander and King, and they got a good bunch, and they got some pass rushers definitely that can disrupt Tom Brady. I'm leaning more on the Aaron Rodgers side probably. Tampa Bay has a good rush defense, not a little bad, pretty bad in the secondary, and I think Aaron Rodgers with Devontae Adams, the emergence of Tanyan, who I'm definitely going to play in the absence of Devontae Adams. He got 3 touchdowns, 6 receptions for 98 yards, and Adams back. That means less eyes on him. He's going to be running freely, absolutely freely. I think he can go even not have 3 touchdown game, but he can have a similar performance. All right, he can have 100 yards, definitely. Um, so I'm on Aaron Rodgers. I'm on Adams, Tanyan, Aaron Jones. I'm gonna stay away from this week, but we're going Godwin, and then I want to stay away from the running backs of Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette and Keyshawn Vaughn. Um, it depends. It really depends because they're going to be splitting carries if he's back. If Fournette is cleared Sunday morning, they're going to be splitting carries, and you're going to see a Ronald Jones. You're paying $6K. You're probably going to get, 13, 14 points? He did 20 against the Chargers. He wasn't there against Chicago, so you might get in that 10-15 range with Fournette back because he's definitely going to be splitting carries. That I'm looking for running backs in other situations, okay? Like I said, James Robinson is in a good spot. Jonathan Taylor this week going up against the 30th ranked Run D in Cincinnati. Madison I already spoke about. David Montgomery's in a prime position. And LaMichael Pirine for the New York Jets. I think they're going to focus on him as their lead back and let Gore play that third down role. All right. But the last stack, like I said, is going to be this Green Bay, Tampa Bay side. Tons of stars in this matchup, but I'm definitely leaning towards that Green Bay side with Aaron Rodgers, Adams, and Tanyan as the core. Bring it back with Godwin, Mike Evans, Gronk if you want to, at a cheap price. And that's all I have for you guys for week 6. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully we do better than we did last week. I had some solid plays. It's just all mixing it, putting the right match together in these lineups. But definitely stacks are winning these tournaments day in and day out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessageSD. And I will see you tomorrow with another video. Thank you guys, and peace out.